All right, Christie. So let me just tell everybody what just happened. So this happened one time before with me, early when I was doing podcasts, when I was talking about Satan and demons, and it was really bizarre. But it happened again. So when you're getting a powerful message out that the enemy does not want to get through the airwaves because he is king of the airwaves. You know who I'm talking about. I'm not even going to give him the pleasure and say his name, but we were having a phenomenal conversation. We're going to pick up from there. And what Christie was talking about was fentanyl doesn't have to be in drugs. It could literally be on the playground, where we shop, in church, anything we touch, anything we come in contact with. So can you explain that? Because I had somebody say to me, they didn't believe that. When that woman touched it on the dollar bill, there's no way. You got to snort it at least. It's got to be ingested. Yeah. Can you explain to people that no, it does not?
No, fentanyl and carfentanil can be absorbed through your skin immediately. It's immediate. Your skin is living, breathing organism on your body, and if you don't believe me, all you have to do is Google. There's a couple. Go to YouTube. And I used this actually in one of my presentations with Governor Ducey's office, and the police officer in California who did a traffic stop, and they were going through the trunk and they were searching the backpacks. And one of the officers literally touched fentanyl in his hand, and he wasn't wearing gloves. And they had body cams on, right? And his partner was with him. And within seconds, the guy dropped dead. And if it wasn't for the fact that the fast acting of his partner who injected Narcan into him, and by the way, he died and coded 3 times on the way to the hospital, they were able to revive him and save him. But that's just one story. No, that's a lie. Fentanyl. And if you don't know what carfentanil is, because I'm talking about carfentanil too. So carfentanil is 50 times more potent than fentanyl. So all you Jurassic Park fans out there, I'm going to correlate this with you. Okay. Do you remember in Jurassic Park where that there was a big, huge T-Rex? They utilized carfentanil to take down the T-Rex. That's how potent carfentanil is. 50 times more potent than fentanyl. And this is what's coming into our country. So let me talk about how they're doing it. So the Chinese Communist Party manufactures the synthetics because it's a synthetic and it's cheaper to make than growing hashish or cocaine and poppies and all that stuff. So they supply the cartels, plural cartels, with the synthetics to make the carfentanil and fentanyl. It is not regulated. They lace it into all sorts of stuff, and then they also bring it over in the pure form as well. And you're seeing these seizures that are incredible amounts of seizures of this stuff that they're catching. Well, how much isn't coming through that they're not catching? And I believe, like I said, it's going to be used as a weapon to take down mass amounts of casualties in America, I believe wholeheartedly. And that keeps me up at night. The terrorists flooding our borders keeps me up at night. I've been there. I've seen them coming over, and it's happening every single day. You're not seeing but a fraction of what's happening at the border in the RGV sector, because that's where in Rio Grande Valley sector, that's where you have Fox News and all of that. That's where they're really honing in. But I'm telling you, I've driven every nook and cranny. I've been to Narco, I've been to ERYX and Sassabee and New Mexico and California, you name it, I've been there. My team has been in the desert camping out for days. We just got back from an operation where I spent 5 days where it takes I spent 5 days where literally it takes 4.5 days just to hike into this sector to get there. It's on the Mexican border. This is where I just showed you, Chris, where there's terrorists coming in. They pay $150,000 plus for the drug cartels to smuggle them in. They blend in, they shave their beards. They look like the Central and South Americans coming up, and they're on our Syrians, Yemenis, Afghans, Chinese, Russian, you name it. They're coming into our border. They're living in your communities now, blending in, waiting for the order, death to America, to take us down. The other thing that's really concerning to me, Chris, is I was also in Central America. Me and my team got back in May. I spent some time down in Central America because it's my job that God gave me to follow and be a bloodhound, right? To sniff out and snoop and find out what the heck's going on. Do you know that the Nicaraguan president just went into an agreement with the Russian President Putin to bring in more military soldiers and more military equipment into Nicaragua to train with the Nicaraguans? On top of that, you've got the Chinese Communist Party, who has taken over essentially South America and Central America. Over 30% of those who live now in South America are Chinese descent. The other thing that's concerning, they now operate and own all of the road and infrastructure coming up through Central and South America into Mexico, including the food supply chain. You can't own grocery stores in, for example, in the country of Belize without being Chinese descent. They all own the grocery stores. I want you to understand what the implications of this are. Most of our products, agricultural products and things like that, come up through where? Mexico, into the ports of entries. Now you've got Russia, China, and now the United Nations, who have brought in their equipment and facilities as well. And now you've got a Biden administration who clearly is sold out to the Chinese. And by the way, it's treason. He's committed massive treasonous acts, including his family. And just one of those things he should be held accountable for, but we don't have a DOJ or three-letter agencies who are doing their jobs anymore, because these are treasonous acts, even all the way around. So now you've got all of these working together. So I look at a 30,000 square foot view. You have to look at things from up here. And then after you look at things from up here, this is military training, right? You look at things from up here, strategy. Now you start honing in and you look at the little connecting the dots, and you come down and you come down and you start digging and digging. And then you follow what's really going on. And that we're being surrounded again. Now Canada, Chris. Canada has the Chinese Communist Party military training with them, along with who? The United Nations. You've got the United Nations, who are the ones who arrested the truckers, not the Canadian military or the Canadian police. It was the United Nations. This is dangerous. Now, and everything I'm saying, your listeners can Google, research, and find out facts and truth, because I never say take my word for it. We have in Puerto Rico, we had a military Air Force base that was purchased by the Chinese Communist Party. We allowed this to take place. They've purchased numerous amounts of land all throughout the Caribbean. Our enemy, they are surrounding us on all fronts, and we're allowing this to happen. We're going to be squeezed out. There's going to be famine coming. There's going to be all sorts of stuff coming. And I believe we have, maybe if we're lucky right now, 2 to 3 months, 2 months, probably 2 months in reality, to prepare for what's coming.
I agree.
And if the American people think I'm crazy conspiracy theorist, you need to start doing your own due diligence, start researching some of this stuff that I've told you yourself, because I'm afraid it's going to be too late when you wake up and you're not going to be prepared. And it's my job that God has given me to give you the facts and then warn you. But Chris, to train you and prepare you for what's coming. Women Fighting for America, with Understanding the Threat, have partnered together to train a 2-day intensive training course to train you and your family and your communities for what's coming, how to prepare, and how to push back and take back our republic.
I love it. I've been saying it. I mean, Chinese have been on California coast for over a year now. They were in that one, not island, it was a park that they overran. And I believe that the Chinese are going to come in from California, and I think Russia's going to come in from New York, and I think it's going to happen simultaneously. I've been saying it for over a year. People think I'm nuts. That's okay. I hope to God I am nuts. I hope to God when somebody says, Chris, you're out of your skull, they're right. Because I don't want to, I really, really, truly, this is the first time I don't want to be right. Normally you want to be right, right? With the message that we give. I said, there's not going to be a midterm. I had so many podcasters fight with me. And I'm like, I'm telling you, they don't want us to have a midterm, and it's not going to be the monkeypox, and it's not going to be the machines. And they're like, well, what is it going to be? And I think they're taking Biden out. It won't be Kamala Harris. It'll be Pelosi. I'll say this. I've been saying it for over a year. And then people are going to be like, what? Pelosi? And then boom, we're martial law. We're locked in. I hope to God that's when they talk about the precipice of us losing our country, because I believe that would be the precipice. But I think that's what's going to happen. To what you said about the borders, Christie. Juan O'Salmon and I had a conversation, Chris, we could shut it down in 3 days.
We can.
3 days, we can shut I was on the phone with him like, 3 days. He's like, yeah, Chris, I've talked 3 days, we can shut the border down. They just don't want to listen. And to what he said, the same exact thing that you, literally an echo, he said the same thing why they're doing it. And I love your wealth of information. I could listen to you all day long. And it's crazy because usually when people talk, it's like, oh, they just talk around in circles. You brought to light a lot of things that maybe people have heard, but you brought it in a different state of consciousness, where it's like you said, 2 months to prepare. How do you prepare for something like that? Like, I tell people, well, number one, you better get right with God. Like, that's first and foremost. You're a sinner, I'm a sinner, we're all sinners. You're broke. You and I are broken as much, not more or less. So everybody is, every human is. So you better get right with God. That's number one. Number two, I tell people, you better be healthy. Because my buddy, I don't know if you know Justin, Cannabis in Combat, may he rest in peace, wasn't healthy. He was a fighting patriot with a podcast. And when it came push to shove, he couldn't take it no more, blew himself away. And so, we've got to, people are tired. I heard people talking, I heard Mel K talking about it, and Thomas Renz, my buddy, who's going to be at the Reckoning Fest, and him and I had a conversation. If you're tired, that's when you do something. That's when you move. That's when you make sure you're eating right. But most importantly, other than eating right and vitamins and nutrients, stuff like that, you and I talked about it. Who is your circle? That to me, I have goosebumps. That to me will be the most important thing. Who do you surround yourself with? Because I believe whoever you surround yourself with, if there's any toxicity, it's going to bring you down. That's why it's called comfort food. That's why people eat what they eat. That's why they push the fast food. I really, truly believe that we've got to be spiritually, mentally, physically ready to fight. What say you, Christie?
You absolutely 100% do. And, this is overwhelming information, and people out there might be listening and saying, well, I'm just going to give up. What's the point in doing anything? Well, God doesn't call us to be weak. He calls us to get off our knees. He calls us to act. And there's two things that you can arm yourself with to save what's coming and to prepare for what's coming. First and foremost, it's this. It's called the Constitution of the United States of America. And the other is, I highly recommend a read. It's a small read, and it's called The Doctrine of the Lesser Magistrates. And the reason why I'm naming these two books, we the people have everything we need. We have all the tools in our tool chest to take back this republic and to stop the invasion and stop all of these things from happening. The problem is that we are so busy in our lives trying to earn money, pay our bills, put food on the table, and all of those things, which we have to do. But at the end of the day, there comes a time when you have to say, I have to shift my focus, because this is what's going to save me and my family and this country. And that's what I did. And we have to start literally working hand in hand. I have a 14-point plan to save America. It's on our website, WFFA.win. And part of that plan is we've been working with the constitutional sheriffs across this nation, sheriffs who are elected, not appointed, elected, who are, in my opinion, are going to hold the key with the people. And if you can contact your local sheriff, find out where they stand from a constitutional perspective. This is one of the things you're going to learn in the training. We're going to link you with other like-minded sheriffs across the nation. The sheriffs are the highest power of authority in law enforcement in the land. They supersede judges, they supersede the president, they supersede the governors, and I could go on. They have the ultimate authority because who do they work for? They work for the people, which ultimately is the ones who are in charge. So when you have individuals who are breaking the law consistently, we need to start going in with the sheriffs and starting to make arrests and holding these individuals accountable. And I know this sounds crazy because you're like, oh, well, we'll get arrested. The DOJ will come knocking on our door, the FBI. Do you know that, Chris, there's a reason why they want to keep us divided and not unified?
Oh, yeah.
The reason why, and the reason why they did what they did with the January 6th hearings, this illegal debacle of January 6th and insurrection, the name of insurrection, is because they're trying to polarize you and scare you into never coming together in those mass numbers again against your government. And you know what, that's completely the opposite of what this teaches.
This right.
And I'm going to tell you, we're not trying to overthrow our government. That's not what Women Fighting for America is all about. I'm trying to train you on what your rights are and what we have the authority to do. And when you have a government that is corrupt and no longer follows natural law and no longer follows the Constitution and is breaking the laws of the land, it is the duty and the responsibility of the American people, we the people, to take that government back and replace it with a new government who will uphold what? This. That is the whole premise by the founding fathers setting up the government in which they set up. So we want to train you, the American people, on how to take back this nation and take back this country lawfully, peacefully, without a shot fired, with this in our hand. And that's what we have to be trained on. We have about 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, in my opinion. I know that's a very short window to do this. But if you want to get involved and be trained on understanding the threat, what the threat is, who the threat is, and how to combat that threat, and how to take back this republic, you really do need to email us at womenfightingforamerica@protonmail.com, womenfightingforamerica@protonmail.com. Let us know that you're interested in finding this out, and we will get the information out to you. We do not have much time. You're right, Chris. We are at a very, very short window and short rope. But I believe with God, our Father, first and foremost, and then the people being faithful to what we're called to do, we will take back this country. It might not look the same, but we will have our country intact and safety and freedom and liberty.
You're right. I love what you said to echo the sentiments of the sheriff. I had a conversation the other day, and I talked about the FBI coming to the guy's house because he bought 2 guns. Now, that's not a job description of the FBI. However, this is what they're doing. They're softening us up, right? So that when they really do, because he's like, oh, I just want to make sure, that you have 2 guns and there's been a lot of illegal guns on the street, and I just need to see the serial numbers. No, you don't. You slam the door, you call your sheriff. Now, this happened in Missouri. The Missouri sheriff, now this is what's crazy. It happened in Missouri. The guy should have shut the door, called the Missouri sheriff, because the FBI contacted the Missouri sheriff. I need to get a hold of him, and said, hey, we want a list of all your gun owners. You know what he said?
Hopefully he told him to go. Yeah, hopefully that's what he said.
Right? And that's what he said and hung up, and that's what a sheriff is supposed to do.
Now, Chris, doesn't that remind you of something, a part of history? And I know something about this. I told you, I'm a Russian Jew on my mother's side. My family fled Stalin. My family's in Ellis Island. My Atinsky, is my maiden name. My
Oh,
papa
wow.
and my great grandfather, literally, at all peril, left all of their possessions, all of their money, and everything behind in Russia, and fled because some of my family, unfortunately, were either killed, slaughtered, or thrown into the gulags. And I remember those stories as a child. They made sure I understood my heritage and what happened. What what this administration is doing, first and foremost, is 100%, by the way, illegal. They are using the DOJ, the FBI, and the CIA as their personal Gestapo. This is what Hitler did. This is what Stalin did. This is what Mao did. They round up people. They have, and this is what I'm telling everybody. And you know what? And I get really frustrated, Chris, because our movement has to literally scrape and beg for money. You know, the things that I could do with just $500,000, the information that I could get out there and the exposure and the corruption, which would lead to serious changing in implications in our country, that I could do with money.
How about
I
the
don't
safe
have the money. I'm
houses that
funding
could
it.
be built for traffic?
Could you imagine? I rescue children, by the way, too. My
Yeah.
team, when we're down at the border, I physically rescue children from sex slavery, from being slaughtered and marked for organ donations and killed for their organs. This is what my team do. And I do it with no money, and I have to beg for money. The Soroses, the Abellas, and the Soros, they don't have to ask for anything. They get all of the funding. I don't understand the concept of all of these millionaires and billionaires who could really help save our country. And the true fact, by the way, not giving to politicians or to races, and races that aren't going to make a damn bit of difference. Because let me tell you, when has the churches, when has politicians ever changed the course of history? They haven't, ever. When has your dollars done anything to help when you give to political campaigns? Nothing. When does it help when you give to churches? Nothing. You need to find organizations who are true grassroots, who are fighting for this country and who have the answers to change this country. That's my soapbox on that. But could you imagine if we had the money that these other organizations have to fight and change the outcome? I would rather be the poorest person in the graveyard than the richest person here on earth. When you're rounded up, because make no mistake, every millionaire, billionaire, they know who you vote for. They know where your allegiance lie. And you can sit there and say, well, I give to both sides. Right. Okay. Yeah. They have ways. There's so many I can't even get into it in the military world and how we do sophistication with data mining and all that stuff. They know who you are, and you're on a list. I promise you, all of your assets and all of your money will be seized, and it's not going to make a difference. So you can either get into the fight now with the right organizations who are going to help take back this country, or you can continue and do the same thing over and over and over again and end up in the FEMA camps or in the concentration camps, or even worse. And that's what's coming.
And I love that. You say the same thing that I say about the churches, about the politician. I'm going to tell you another thing. You know where those billionaires and millionaires are going to end up? In the FEMA camp right next to us. So what kind of millionaire and billionaire are you going to be when you're sitting next to me in the FEMA camp? And then you're going to be like, oh, I was a billionaire. And I'm going to say, really? What did you do good for our country with your money? What could you have done differently that would have changed where we are right now?
They are setting up a system, and you can actually look at it. And again, don't take my word for it. I want you to Google Klaus Schwab. I want you to Harari. He's probably one of the most dangerous men in the world right now, Harari. Yeah. Okay, Yuval Harari. Mm-hmm. You can look at Obama, the Clintons, the Bidens, different individuals in Europe and Germany, and all of these different leaders. Where do they go? They go to the World Economic Forum, right? They're part of the United Nations. I want you to start Googling videos and looking at verbiage from 5, 10, and 15 years ago. They are laying out what the plans are and what they want to do. And even as far back as 1980, you can go all the way back to like 1982, and you can start listening to some of the Russian defectors who are high up in the Russian parliament and stuff. You can listen to what their plans were and how they were going to take down America. And these things are taking place now. And we can either engage right now in this short window that we have, or we can sit back and watch all of our family and all of our friends and everything we've worked for go up literally in smoke. Our house is on fire and we're burning down, and we need to engage now.
Yep, I love it. I was watching a thing, 1989, Gerald Ford. Now remember, they got to tell us what they're going to do before they do it. 1989. So people say, why are you watching Gerald Ford from 1989?
Mm-hmm.
Here's why. He's in a school with kids, okay? 3rd grade, 4th grade, whatever. And a girl raises her hand and says, President Ford, do you think we'll ever have a female president? And he says verbatim, you know, yes, but it's not going to be the conventional way. And I thought he'd just stop right there. Okay, but no, he says, so there's going to be a male president, and he's going to choose a female as a vice president, and he's going to die, and then she's going to be president. 1989. Really, Jerry? So you're now a psychic all of a sudden, or a medium, Nostradamus, and in 1989, you predicted that. You said exactly how it was going to go down. And that's what we need to do, is we need to look at our past. I'm watching movies. I mean, I can name movies, Donnie Darko, Back to the Future. I mean, there's so many movies that, first of all, the 80s was the biggest spell casting generation. That's where it all began. The 1980s. I remember the 80s. MTV, right? Yep. That's all Masonic, right? That's what really set us up, was the spell casting and the culture, because that's when they knew they could hit entertainment and music and really get into the youth, right? And so when you go into the 80s movies, why are they still doing 80s movies in 2022? Stranger Things, right? Set in the 80s, right? American Horror Story last year, the 80s, right? Why are they going back to the 80s? Because of the spell casting. And so when I talk about, you know, in order for us to know what they're going to do in the future, we got to look in the past. And if you start looking at it, you're going to go, oh my gosh, I didn't see that. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. And you're going to start putting things together. Like you said, I'm the same way. You look up here, you know, where's the sniper? Not at the lowest level, at the highest level, right? So that nobody else can be above him. So he sees everything below. And then you start putting those things together and you're like, oh my gosh, now I know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. You know, I get what they live with Rowdy Piper, that people made a joke of that movie with the glasses, the subliminal messaging, you know, but now I see it, and I see the narrative that they were selling us 20, 30 years ago, to what you said, to set us up.
That's right.
Solvent Green, Charles Henson, right? I mean, come on, right? I mean, I didn't know what Solvent Green was up until, 2 years ago. And I'm like, my gosh, you have a major star in that movie. And it was called What is the Secret of Solvent Green? Now you see, and I even think the trailer says, what are people lining up for and dying to get? Can't live without. And I'm like, okay, my flexies know what Solvent Green is, because I did a whole thing on it. But you're absolutely right, Christie. Like, everything that you said, you're spot on. And I just want to tell everybody, if you haven't gotten a ticket to reckoningfest.com in Texas, you will get to hear this powerful woman and the message that she's going to bring. And she's going to have 30 minutes. So normally she has, what do we usually have, 10 minutes, right?
15.
Yeah,
Clay
10,
usually gives me
15.
15 to
She
20
has
if I'm lucky.
30 minutes, 30 minutes, and you'll get to meet her as well in the meet and greet, and you'll get to really see that she's such a genuine person and she's really sweeter. If you stand next to her, you'd probably be a diabetic if you're not already, because she's so sweet. But when it's time for getting her message out, you do not want to miss out on this. I personally would just buy a ticket just for her. And, you know, I'll leave you with this before we do a prayer. When I was doing the lineup, you know, I was like, man, I need a strong woman. Man, I need a strong woman, you know? And I was like, oh, Christie Hutcherson. And I was like, she wouldn't do my event. You know, that's what and it was the devil. I was like, she wouldn't do my event. I'm baby Trump. No, she just says hi and bye and hug me. No. And I called her and she's like, when is it? And she's like, let me look at my schedule, and boom. And then when I started telling everybody, you know, Trennis Evans and Dave Summerall, they were all excited, you know, Thomas Friends. So yeah, Chrissy, it's going to be a pleasure. We're going to have so much fun. And I believe we're going to make memories, and I believe it's going to be a time in history where we're going to look back and we're going to say, wow, thank God we were there together. Thank God we were there to get the message out, lift one another up. And, you know, guys, this isn't our event. This is not going to be our event. It's your event. It's your event. I'm putting this event together, like I told Christy, because you want to hear from these people. You, the people, for the people, by the people, we the people. So yeah, tickets are selling out. You either want to get a VIP or general admission. Sunday's a musical with a brunch. Chrissy, thank you so much for being a guest.
You know, Chris, really quick, let me tell your listeners really quick why they should really, truly come to this event. And there's a couple of reasons why. First of all, I want you to think about the community that you're going to create there. This is important. And if you know what's coming and to get prepared, you need to be with like-minded individuals and make friends and connections so you are able to call upon them to lean on and be there for you when the crap does hit the fan, which is coming. Not only that, you're going to get valuable, I'm talking valuable information that you're not going to get anywhere else, that's going to give you an arsenal in your tool shed. And then the other thing is I know for myself, I bring serious amounts of visuals. I'm going to show you where I've been in the trenches. I'm going to show you the maps. I'm going to show you the FEMA camps. I'm going to show you where the cartels and the terrorists, you're going to visually see these things on a big screen, right? So you're going to learn so much valuable information that I am here to tell you. You need to come to this event, and you need to gobble up every event that you possibly can get to with individuals who truly are on the front lines and bringing you truth, but more importantly, giving you actions on what to do, because we can speak all day long, but if we don't give you an actionable item, it's for naught, it's for nothing. And I can tell you, all of these individuals that you see behind you on this who are coming to speak, these individuals have solutions, they have actions, and you are not going to want to miss being there.
Oh, you must have read my impact. It's on the impact page. It's like you took it right off there. I love it. Yeah, I truly believe that every single person is going to not only bring a message, but they're also going to give you a plan. And it opens up with Pastor Locke, and you want to talk about an opener. I mean, 10 a.m., you want to be in your seat. So get a coffee, get whatever you got to do. But at 10 a.m., be in your seat for the ride of your life. I was joking around with the event center. I said, do these chairs come with seatbelts?
Pastor Locke is amazing.
I was like, are harnesses? And they looked at me. I was like, oh, you don't know. Like, you don't know what's going to happen in this building. And then I started telling them, and they were like, wow, like, you know, and they want to come. They were getting inspired. But we will have Christie on here again right before the tour. We're going to talk about some other things that I want to talk about with her. But I just want to introduce you guys to her, see what I see in her, and see, man, this woman is truly standing up, not just for our country, but for humanity, right? And I want to lead us with the prayer. And, hey, look, if you don't pray, now's a good time, right? And praying is not, and I'm going to talk about this at the event, praying is not, you got to be dressed up and oh gosh, and your hair. No, praying is just sitting there having a conversation with Jesus Christ, right? Lord Jesus, thank you so much, number one, for my sistership with Christie and the fellowship with the Flexies. And listen, thank you so much for making Christie and I less so we can make you more. And if Christie and I said anything that was not your will, not your way, using your words, or just was a lie, was deceitful, was fraudulent, we ask that it fall on deaf ears, that nobody listens to the message. Lord Jesus, thank you so much for having Christie, with us, number one, not only to look after us, but, to be that voice, to be that warrior that you tapped on the shoulder. She's anointed. She's doing your work, your will, your way, but most importantly, using your words. Where we ask that you put a hedge of protection around not just Christie, not just her security team, but her family, her friends, her acquaintances. And Lord God, we just ask that her haters, the people that are against her, that they just go away, that you just bring the angels down and protect her and just let them find somebody else to hate. She's got too much of your work to do for them to be a distraction. And Lord, we ask that she has an abundance of money, an abundance of time, abundance of health, so she can carry out what she's doing. But we ask that she gets here safe and that the message that she gives is so powerful that people just start getting up, running out of the building and want to do something. This we ask in your name, amen. Christie, it's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see you on Friday. We'll have you again here, probably the week before. But again, tell everybody your website and we'll say bye.
You can go to WFFA.WIN or email me at womenfighting4, FOR, America@protonmail.com, and I will see you at the Reckoning Fest.
And I love it because she did that. You're going to have, and she doesn't know this, but David Nino Rodriguez, former heavyweight champion boxer, is going to be there, my buddy. I'm an ex-Golden Glove boxer, and he said something to me. He said, Chris, this is going to be like a fighting match. And I have goosebumps even because she did that and I was going to do that with her. And, it's almost like we're like synced together. So thank you so much. And guys, remember always what? Flex your mind, flex your muscles, flex the truth. And then that way you are aligned up with God so you can do his work, his will, his way. And you can go out then and then ignite others. Doing his work, his will, his way. Guys, God bless. Thank you, Christie. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much.
Bye.